Hello and welcome to this video. It's the continuation in my series on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And if you're interested, you can pick up the revision guide through following the links in the description. The revision guide contains more information on everything I'm going to talk about today. And today's topic is nature versus nurture. So you may have heard of this phrase before, but basically the nature versus nurture debate can be explained as this. Are people the way they are because it's hardwired into their brains from birth, or are they the way they are as a result of their personal experiences in life? So, where does this sort of theory come from? In the 1760s, Jean-Jacques Rousseau's Émile explored the nature of education and human beings. In this text, the writer argues that humans are born harmless and that it's society which makes people either good or bad. Now, Mary Shelley read this book and explores its key questions in her novel. So the easiest way to look at how this theme was developed in the text is to look, of course, at the character of the creature. The creature has a horrible time and is treated badly by just about everyone he comes into contact with. After leaving Frankenstein, he explains that some attacked me. Clearly this treatment left its mark, as when he happens upon De Lacy, Felix and Agatha, he longed to join them but dared not, and remembered too well the treatment I had suffered the night before. So this is evidence of nurture. The creature becomes hesitant and distant because of the way he's treated. He feels that, after my late, dearly bought experience, I dared not enter. So one clear line of argument is that the creature was good, but the way it was treated by everyone made him turn into an evil, sort of sadistic murderer. And this is certainly how the creature views himself, seen when he explains near the end of the novel, my heart was fashioned to be susceptible of love and sympathy, and when wrenched by misery to vice and hatred, it did not endure the violence of the change without torture such as you cannot even imagine. So the creature himself feels that nurture has made him the evil monster he is, and that positive personal experiences would have, and perhaps still could, made him good. Interestingly, the creature doesn't feel that his character, is set in stone. He tells Frankenstein, I was benevolent and good, misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous. Well, of course, the reader isn't sure whether the creature's bluffing or actually telling the truth, but we do know enough of his good deeds, such as chopping wood for the peasants, to suggest that there is good in this creature. So at this point, there's a decision to make. Was the creature born good but turned bad by the poor treatment he received, or was he born evil? To help us decide, let's take a look at Frankenstein's description, Dr. Frankenstein that is, of the birth in chapter 5. A long passage, but there's a couple of key bits. So it starts off with this. How can I describe my emotions at this catastrophe? Or how delineate the wretch whom with such infinite pains and care I had endeavoured to form? His limbs were in proportion, and I had selected his features as beautiful. Beautiful! Great God, his yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His hair was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness. But these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes, that seemed almost of the same colour as the dun white sockets in which they were set, his shrivelled complexion and straight black lips. Now I'm going to read you a bit now which isn't on the screen. The different accidents of life are not so changeable as the feelings of human nature. I had worked hard for nearly 2 years for the sole purpose of infusing life into an inanimate body. For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. I had desired it with an ardour that far exceeded moderation, but now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart. Unable to endure the aspect of the being I had created, I rushed out of the room and continued a long time traversing my bedchamber, unable to compose my mind to sleep. At length lassitude succeeded to the tumult I had before endured, and I threw myself on the bed in clothes, endeavouring to seek a few moments of forgetfulness. But it was in vain. And then it explains he has this dream about Elizabeth. And then he wakes up. I started from my sleep with horror. A cold dew covered my forehead, my teeth chattered, and every limb became convulsed. when, by the dim and yellow light of the moon, as it forced its way through the window shutters, I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created. He held up the curtain of the bed, and his eyes, if eyes they may be called, were fixed on me. His jaws opened, and he muttered some inarticulate sounds, while a grin wrinkled his cheeks. He might have spoken, but I did not hear. One hand was stretched out, seemingly to detain me, but I escaped and rushed downstairs. I took refuge in the courtyard belonging to the house, and on it goes. So let's look at this passage for evidence of nature versus nurture. If you see the quotations on the screen there, what did Frankenstein actually expect to happen? It seems he's totally shocked by what happens when he brings the creature to life. But why is that? He knew what lay before him and all it had, was going to sort of involve. But it gets worse. Now look at how Frankenstein acts around his creation. I rushed out of the room. I escaped and rushed downstairs. The treatment of the creature is terrible and certainly backs up the idea that nurture makes us who we are. Now let's look for evidence in the text that the creature was born good. Consider his actions in the passage. I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open. It breathed hard, and a convulsive motion agitated its limbs. So far so good. The creature's opened its eyes, it's begun to move around, just like a newborn baby or a cute baby deer might do. These are the actions that caused Frankenstein to run away, remember. The thing he was trying to bring back to life came to life, and he ran away. Now look at this next passage. He held up the curtain of the bed, and his eyes, if eyes they may be called, were fixed on me. His jaws opened, and he muttered some inarticulate sounds, while a grin wrinkled his cheeks. He might have spoken, but I did not hear. One hand was stretched out, seemingly to detain me, but I escaped and rushed downstairs. Now, if you ignore the deliberately negative language used here, let's consider just what it is the creature's doing. He lifts up the bed curtains. He speaks. He smiles. And he reaches out for Dr. Frankenstein, who is, to all intents and purposes, his father. And it seems to me those are really the actions of a child to a parent. The creature looks for his father, smiles when he finds him, tries to speak to him, reaches out perhaps to, cuddle him affectionately. The evidence is clear. The creature was not acting in an evil way here. The poor treatment that followed caused the creature to become more and more evil. And it's certain that Mary Shelley is using the creature to argue for nurture over nature. The application to real life then is simple. Shelley is in agreement with Jean-Jacques Rousseau. How we treat people will affect the person they become. Well, I hope you found this video useful. As I said, it all comes from the Frankenstein guide which I've written, which is available for just £1.99 at mrbruff.com and also available on the Kindle on Amazon. Please do subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up if you've got this far.